Welcome to the Libraries as Community session. For those of you who are new to this place, let me give you a brief introduction to Adyar Library and Research Center and the Theosophical Society. This library was founded by Colonel Henry Steele Olcott, who also co-founded the Theosophical Society, which was founded in 1875 in New York. The Adyar Library was founded in 1886, nearly 138 years ago, as a non-sectarian center of research in Eastern civilization, philosophy and religion. The library collection includes rare manuscripts, books and journals. The printed books are in many languages, including Sanskrit, Latin, Chinese, Japanese, Tibetan, etc. Very old and rare Indological works, books on different religions and philosophies, Chinese Tripitakas, encyclopedias, rare works in Latin, important research journals are amongst the valued possession of this library. Successive presidents of the Theosophical Society have taken great interest and have encouraged the work of the Adyar Library in every possible way. Today's speaker, kindly welcome Mr. C.N. Sethuraman this morning. C.N. Sethuraman is a long-time member of the Adyar Lodge of the Theosophical Society. His father, Brother C.R.N. Swami, was a theosophist for over 6 decades, from 1926 through 1988, and honorary international treasurer with the International President Theosophical Society, Mr. John Coates. Mr. Sethuraman is by profession a marine engineer. His interests from a very young age have been, apart from engineering and science, a keen interest in geography, astronomy, cosmology, metaphysics, and inquiry into unexplained phenomena occurring on Earth as well as extraterrestrial. You can see the wide range of interests. He is also a dedicated student of Vedanta, and his area of prime interest these days is aligning to the truths proclaimed in the scripture with ever-expanding findings of scientific research. Kindly welcome Mr. C.N. Sethuraman.
Thank you, Jaishree, for that very nice welcome. And so, we are today going to talk of something which all of us have experienced, but very few of us have given the time or had the inclination to find out why certain things are affecting us the way they do. Now the truth behind this was known ages and ages ago, but then mankind lost that touch. So, in an effort to sort of revive that touch, a lot of research, a lot of people are doing. And the end result of all this, of course, still research is going on. It's a ongoing process. You can never say it's complete. Is realization that more than what we see around us, there is something which is connecting all of us. It is not by coincidence that our prayer as theosophists, we start with this, "O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. Now, today what I'm going to talk about is this hidden life from three aspects. One is our experience of life as it is. Second one, the scriptural background, how it explains why things are as they are. That is this from the scriptural angle. Then, ongoing science, as they get more and more very refined instruments, very, very sensitive instruments, what is it that they are finding? And the third one, we go into history. How certain tribes, many years ago, or centuries ago, many had actual knowledge of these things. And they passed that on to their tribes. Many of whom, though they did not understand what it was, they obeyed their elders because they believed their elders knew about this hidden life. So these are three aspects which we are going to see today. Very beginning, hidden life, vibrant in every atom. Now I go to the next one. A few pictures before we start the talk as such. Pictures are always very much more effective than words. So a few pictures first, then we go on to the talk. As we can see, these pictures have been shown, so that we all start thinking, there is the life hidden in each of these. More of that. Now, eventually, our reaction in the end will be what this baby is doing. Oh my God. Now, as we look around, hidden life, vibrant in every atom, as man looks around him, what he sees? He sees the world revealed by science. What is the scientist's pet phrase? What I can't see, what I can't prove doesn't exist. But they are changing now because as they find more and more, they find that they have to take back a lot of their words. Then restricted to a three-dimensional entity, that is space, time and self. We are governed, I, that is the self, the physical self. I am in a particular place at a particular time. Some different time, I am in a different place, different time. But I am still the same physical body. So after some time you will realize what you were some years ago is not what you are now. So your physical self has changed. But you are looking at it again from those same 3 points. Where was I at that time? What was I doing at that time? When was that? And what I was. This is what generally we all consider ourselves. Then, at first, before you start inquiring, we are perfectly happy with that. So many years ago I was this, I did that, I did it. Now, okay, I've become older, I'm doing something else. Okay. Then, the last one realizes that the information you have is incomplete. There is something lacking. Now, what are the reasons? The ability of our senses is limited. We know, even science has proved it, that because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. A very basic example. All these things, the wires, you've got electricity in it. You can't see electricity. You touch it, you'll know. Right? Like that, there are so many. There is more to the world than you see. Once you start thinking on these lines, the next one comes. It leads to refinement of the senses. And once your senses become more refined, you find your life becomes fuller and richer. You are able to appreciate a lot more things which previously you just very casually passed over. And once you do that, the next one follows. Better understand your fellow human beings. It starts with human beings. Eventually it will involve the entire universe. Now, with that kind of a change in your character, you become a more useful member of society. Now we come to what is this hidden side of life. Matter is an inert principle. This science will not, they do not talk about this at the moment, but what they say is the body is made up of inert chemical elements. We all learned in chemistry. And chemistry itself broadly divided into inorganic chemistry and organic chemistry. But the root of all these things, at the base, is atoms and molecules, and they all obey the laws of physics and chemistry. Now, this is on the face of it. Now, we go one step further. The Vedas tell us anything that exists in this universe has 6 stages. All the physical entities. Then what is given here is in Sanskrit, Asti Jayate Vardate Viparinamate Apakshiyate Vinashyati. It means Asti, it is there. That means it has taken form first. Then it is born, Jayate. Then Vardate, it grows. Viparinamate, starts decaying. Apakshiyate, further stage of degeneration. And finally, Nashyati, is destroyed. This is the law of all matter. Now, there is one constant factor behind all these changes which does not change. This is this factor what we call sentiency. Here we are going into our scriptures. The first question here, what makes the body live? It's a common experience. A person, once he or she is born, you are born with all your organs. Eyes, ears, everything is there. You grow up, they all change. But they're there. You grow old, you die. When you are dead, all the organs are still there, but none of them is functioning. Physically, they're all there. So what is it that during your lifetime made all these organs function? That is the first question here. What makes the body live? This is the biggest mystery for investigative science. Till today, science has not found a solution to this. The latest they have come, I think a couple of years back, some boson particle or something, last one. But even that is not the end. So we are still doing research. Now, next one, 7. Though I have a scientific mind myself, and I'm an engineer, so I'd like to have facts also. But then, you start studying these things and you see what's going on all around you, then you realize more and more that there is a lot more to be known. So, several scientific theories put forward over centuries. So many scientists, they done a lot of work and very, very productive work also. But then what happens is, after some years, more advancement in science, better instruments, then the earlier theories, they are rejected. And there is supplemented by a new theory. Each one refuted by the subsequent discoveries. The life principle, which is energizing all the material objects in the universe, is an extremely subtle principle which is still unknown by science. Again, what we call consciousness. The body is intrinsically inert because it is made up of chemicals. And these chemicals are all inert. So law of cause and effect. Anything which is made of inert material will be inert. At death, all physical parts of the body are still there, but they are non-functional. This consciousness is the cause behind sentiency of the body. And as I mentioned earlier, but it's worth repeating, it is extremely subtle in nature, which is not easily recognizable. Finally, it says, again this is from the Adyar, Swayam Prakasha. Swayam means by itself. Prakasha. It shows. Like, there's an example. I have a photographer. He has taken a picture of a number of people. All the people are there in the picture, except the photographer. But without that photographer, the picture will not be there. So that picture is proof that the photographer was there. This is the very same logic we applied here. All people here and their being sentient is proof that there is sentiency which is giving sentience to all these people. That's why it's called Swayam Prakasha, by the self-evident light. Because we are seeing it, you know there is a light illuminating it. That's it. The hidden side of things, the book shown here and the book I have in hand. Just watch these two pictures for a few seconds. I have this in hand. Now if I ask you, what is it that is there in my hand? You'll all say, there's a book. Is there anything else? Can anyone think of anything else?
Light reflecting.
Yeah, you got it. That's it. There is light in the room. And it's because of the light that I'm able to. You're all able to see this book. Now we go one step further. I take away the book. I'm showing my hand. What is it you all see? You will say hand. But again, unless the light is there, you will not see the hand. The factor which makes you see the hand, the light, is not seen. But without it, I cannot see. I put my hand down, the book is gone, the hand is not there. But light is still there. But you cannot see it because here my hand was reflecting the light, there the book was reflecting the light. When both these reflecting media, when both these are gone, the light is not known. It's not seen or not known. But it is there. It is illuminating various other objects. That's the second one. The book and the light is needed to illuminate the book. This is a self-evident principle. The light in the room helps me to see the book. The book is bathed in it. The book is enveloped by it. And the light is spread all over the book. But we don't see the light. So, what happens now? These are the things which light is there. But what are the features now? See this. Light is not a part, product, or property of the book. It is independent. Light is an independent entity which pervades the book and makes it visible. Light is not limited by the boundaries of the book. And light is not destroyed when the book is destroyed. Thus, the light survives the destruction of the book. And finally, as I say most importantly, when the book is removed, the light continues to be there, but is not visible. Not because it is not there, but there is no reflecting medium. So, with this example, our scriptures point out that consciousness carries out the same functions over the entire creation as light does in the case of this book. Hence, we can list the 5 features of consciousness too. The first one, consciousness is not a part, property, or product of the body. Second point, consciousness is an independent entity that pervades the body and makes it sentient. Consciousness is not limited by the boundaries of the body. Consciousness survives the destruction of the body. It continues to exist even after the death of the body. And the last one, very important again, the surviving consciousness is unrecognizable because the reflecting medium called the body is no longer there. So this is what happens when the body dies. Consciousness is immortal as it survives the death of the body. It is not constrained by time and space. And this is what is called the Atma in our scriptures. This Atma is the hidden life vibrant in every atom. Bhagavan Krishna, now I go into our scriptures. We have started from that angle, the last few slides. A little more, we'll go into it in depth, this one, with a few quotes from a book which is the Gospel for Mankind. Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. This Atma, the Self, resides in all beings. The Gita, you'll find every stanza, every sloka is cryptic, very, very, and with so much of depth and meaning. I have taken the very fundamental meaning here. And then again, in another chapter, chapter 13, he tells us, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. The translation is, here the body is referred to as the kshetram. Kshetram means the field. And the Atma, the hidden life, as the kshetrajnaha. Or, Nyaha means somebody who knows. So kshetrajnaha is the man who knows the field. So he says, know me as that Atma, to be present in all fields in the universe. Here he calls him Bharata, that is one of the names Sri Krishna has used for Arjuna. Now, again, the whole creation is pervaded by the Atma. It exists as the Atma in sentient living beings. Is the isness in insentient, what we call insentient, like rocks, minerals, trees. I won't say the insentient, but sentiency level is much less. Now, this isness belongs to the Atma and not to the object, because the object goes. When I say the tree is there, this chair is there, the table, this thing, this lectern is there. The common thing to all of them is. This commonality, this is the reflection of the Atma again. Reflected in all these, what we call inanimate objects. It belongs to the Atma and not to the object. And it pervades all kingdoms everywhere, material, mind, and spirit. Entire universe has in it the omnipresence of the hidden life. Consciousness is the greatest mystery of all. As I said earlier, science is trying very, very hard, but as I still have to find an answer. And it is also the divinity. It is the unknowable essence called God. It exists behind the creation and maintenance of all body, mind, and spirit, and every known and yet to be known wonders of the universe. One more definition of consciousness, again in Sanskritam. Stula Sukshma Karna Sharirat Gatirikta Yat Tishtati Saha Atma. That which stands apart from Stula, that is the gross body, Sukshma, subtle body, Karana, the causal body, is the Atma. Because all the Stula, Sukshma, Karana, they all come and go. This one stands behind as a consciousness witness, witnessing all these changes. The Atma, also known as the conscience of principle, is the sentient cause behind the insentient body, which is made up of inert material of varying degrees of subtlety. The Atma enters in the various forms of matter and is intimately connected with each one, but it is no more a part of it than we are a part of the clothes we wear. The clothes are in intimate contact with you, but they are not you. The same thing with the Atma. Our universe made up of two components, inert material body having various names and forms, what we call Nama Rupa, and the animating force, which is the hidden life, which pervades the material bodies and makes them sentient. Now, indications how we are all interconnected by this hidden life. The first one, each of us affects everyone and everything around us. Each of us in turn is affected by every object in our environment to a greater or a lesser degree. Behind each material object, the sun, the moon, the stars, earth, animals, planets, rocks, rivers, the oceans, the atmosphere, the vast interstellar spaces, the numerous galaxies and universes, there is the splendid life force which holds them all together. Our sun floods the earth and the other planets with light and heat. Sunlight brings cheerfulness and a sense of well-being. Now, violent emotion in a person originating in the astral body produces chemical changes and temperature changes in the physical body. Shows they're all interconnected. Changes in the earth spirit, just as a single individual you have seen takes effect. The earth, which is just a collection of all the individuals and rocks and everything, there is the earth spirit around it, which envelops the physical earth, and it affects the physical earth and its atmosphere. Very subtle matter. Consciousness, the influence is perpetually radiated on us by water in the form of glaciers, lakes, rivers, the ocean, mountains, rocks, the very earth we tread, trees. As you can see, these are all standing proof, they're all standing, of the existence of the hidden life in every atom. Every object in the universe has a story to tell. The history of the earth is written upon its rocks, mountains and glaciers. Developments in material sciences support these statements. There is thus a record of life on earth in what verily is nature's memory. The whole universe is vibrant with life. Each subject or each object constantly emitting vibratory waves that reveal its nature and presence. Now, we have power plants. Why do we call them plants? They generate power, but we call them plants. See, there's some kind of a connection. Power plants generate electrical energy. Then machines breathe, eat, react, grow old and die. The last one, a middle-aged locomotive, responds to a steep gradient by huffing and puffing, similar to an old man climbing the stairs. So, isn't there a connection? Every living being is radiating a complex set of definite influences. What are these influences? Nothing but energy at various frequencies. Very scientific principle. And this is being influenced, this influence is on all those around him. These influences are less pronounced on inanimate objects. Wood, iron, and stone have their own respective character radiations. They are not dead. Now, I'm going into science. What scientific experiments have shown regarding this hidden life? A very distinguished professor we had, Jaishree Bose, belonged to Calcutta. He studied in St. Xavier's College, Calcutta, many, many years before where I studied there. So I have a connection with him in Calcutta. So he's a very distinguished scientist, physicist, and an outstanding research scientist. So between 1900, see how many years ago? More than a century now. 1900 and 1935, he did extensive research work in various scientific fields. He had attained international recognition for his work on the optical properties of radio waves and the wireless transmission. I just, I think he'll be more familiar with this than, if there are others, very good. But I know one person who knows about this, so it's fine. It says, as we know, Guglielmo Marconi. Marconi is the one who invented the Morse telegraph. Dot, 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 SOS and all those signals. Previously, ships used to communicate with that only. Nowadays, everything is, of course, Inmarsat and mobile phones and all. But in this year, that is these years, 1900, 1935, Jaishree Bose had already found these properties, even before Marconi put in his telegraph. Now, Professor Bose, I gave all that history because, see, though you're such a brilliant scientist and a very practical person, practical means in the general material sense of the term, he firmly believed, philosophically and scientifically, in the unity of life and evolution. He initially studied the effect of radio waves on inorganic matter such as tin and copper. Then performed a comparative study of the fatigue response of various metals and organic tissue in plants. Bose subjected metals to a combination of mechanical, thermal, chemical, and electrical stimuli. That means either giving small currents or something to disturb it. Then he found striking similarity in the response exhibited by the metals and the cells. His experiments demonstrated similar cyclical fatigue response in both metals and the cells. His experiment demonstrated, and not only that, it demonstrated remarkable similarity in the cyclical fatigue and recovery response. You give a shock, how it responds, how it recovers. Whether it is tin, copper, steel, or a plant. So exactly the same response across multiple types of stimuli in both living cells and the metals. Professor Bose, in several of his talks, has referred to the human-like emotions and behavior of plants. See what he says. These trees have a life like ours. They eat and grow, face poverty, sorrows, and sufferings. This poverty may induce them to steal and rob. They help each other, develop friendships, sacrifice their lives for their children. We have all of us have heard of Charles Darwin, very famous biologist. Now, in an address to the British Association in 1908, noted biologist Charles Darwin, he had proposed, it is consistent with the doctrine of continuity that in all living things there is something psychic. In all living things there is something psychic. And if we accept this point of view, we must believe that in plants there exists a faint copy of what we know as consciousness in ourselves. So a hardcore scientist to say things like this, you have to take it seriously. And even British Association had to. Based on recent advances in plant molecular biology, cellular biology, electrophysiology, and ecology, it is now observed plants have, these are the latest developments, sensory and communicative organisms, active problem-solving behavior, memory, intelligence, and learning, at least some form of cognition, consciousness, and even they realize which is a self and which is non-self at their level. The point to be emphasized here is that these entities are all capable of absorbing human influence and then pouring it out again and that all are linked to one another by that singular, what we started, hidden life, vibrant in every atom. Yeah. Now I'm going into history. We have seen science, we have seen from the scriptures what they say regarding the hidden life. Two very interesting examples I got here from two very, very widely separated continents. How the indigenous peoples of those continents were well aware of this hidden life principle, and how after they were colonized, a lot of it just disappeared. I am starting first with the Red Indians from North America. Columbus called them Indians. Most correct term will be the indigenous Americans. Now, this is, you see, for a moment, just see that picture of that Indian chief. It shows a person who's sort of somewhere way beyond the ordinary, as though he's seeing something which no other people see. He's a thinker. Couple of, just even about 10 to 20 seconds, just look at his face. He's looking at something very, very far away. So, I'll go to the, it's a fairly long message, but then I got it here because I want everyone to see that. The depth to which they knew about these things. This is the message written by Chief Seattle of the indigenous people of North America when he was asked to hand over the land to the American army. It's a beautiful speech, so that's why I got it verbatim, because it is very powerful. Now, first thing he starts, how can you buy or sell the sky? The warmth of the land. The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every clearing and every humming insect is holy in the memory and experience of my people. The sap which courses through the trees carries the memories of the red man. Our dead never forget this beautiful earth, for it is the mother of the red man. We are part of the earth and it is part of us. The perfumed flowers are our sisters. The deer, the horse, the great eagle, these are our brothers. The rocky crests, the juices in the meadows, the body heat of the pony and the man, all belong to the same family. For this land is sacred to us. This shining water that moves in the streams and rivers is not just water, but the blood of our ancestors. If we sell you the land, you must remember it is sacred, and you must teach your children that it is sacred, and that each ghostly reflection in the clear water of the lakes tells of events and memories in the life of my people. The water's murmur is the voice of my father's father. The rivers are our brothers, they quench our thirst. The rivers carry our canoes and feed our children. If we sell you our land, you must remember and teach your children that the rivers are our brothers and yours, and you must henceforth give the rivers the kindness you would give to any brother. Beautiful. The air is precious to the red man, for all things share the same breath. The beast, the tree, the man, they all share the same breath. The white man must treat the beasts of this land as his brothers. I am a savage and do not understand any other way. I have seen 1,000 rotting buffaloes on the prairie, left by the white man who shot them from a passing train. I am a savage and do not understand how smoking iron horse, that's what they call the train, locomotive, can be made more important than the buffalo we kill only to stay alive, not wantonly. What is man without the beasts? If all the beasts are gone, man would die from the great loneliness of the spirit. Whatever happens to the beast soon happens to man. The white man must treat the beasts of this land as his brothers. All things are connected. So these are all the chief's words. Huh? You must teach your children that the ground beneath their feet is the ashes of our grandfathers, so that they will respect the land, Tell your children that the earth is rich with the lives of our kin. Teach your children that we have taught our children that the earth is our mother. The earth is our mother. Whatever befalls the earth, befalls the sons of the earth. If men spit upon the ground, they spit upon themselves. This we know. The earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to the earth. All things are connected like the blood which unites one family. All things are connected. Finally says, we may be brothers after all. We shall see. One thing we know, which the white man may one day discover. Our God is the same God. The earth is precious to him, and to harm the earth is to heap contempt on its creator. Contaminate your bed, and you will one night suffocate in your own waste. We do not understand when the buffalo are all slaughtered, the wild horses are tamed, the secret corners of the secret corners of the forest are heavy with the scent of many men, and the view of the ripe hills blotted by talking wires. Where is the thicket? Thicket means a small forest. Gone. Where is the eagle? Gone. Then he says, this is the end of living and beginning of survival. Look at this. How much knowledge was there in these primitive tribes? Primitive, they're called primitive by the white man. About the hidden life in every atom. Here it shows hidden life in every atom. And what is man's place in the universe? This is the Red Indian chief's reply to that army commander. Okay, now we go right across the globe to another indigenous peoples. Australia. Some pictures of those indigenous people who were there. Not many. This is one of their chiefs. One of their festivals they have, some kind of dance going on there. The original, this is of course I got it from people who have done research in Australian history and their culture. So it's not some chief saying something, it's something I got from books. The original inhabitants of Australia represent a kind of unwritten oral history within which people can learn. It's oral history because by talking to them only they found out. Can learn about the world and perceive a different reality dictated by the concepts and values vastly different from those of Western societies. These original inhabitants learned from stories recounted by earlier generations that a society must not be human-centered, but rather land-centered. Otherwise, they forget their source and purpose. Humans are prone to exploitative behavior if not constantly reminded that they are interconnected with the rest of creation. That they as individuals are only temporal in time, and past and future generations must be included in their perception of their purpose in life. People come and go, but the land and stories about the land, they stay. This is a wisdom that takes lifetimes of listening, observing, and experience. There is a deep understanding of human nature and the environment. Now, they have all over Australia, the historic sites are there, plenty. They're all in tourist spots now. But then what is the history behind them? Historic sites hold feelings which cannot be described in physical terms. Subtle feelings that resonate through the bodies of these people and their environment, showing it is just one hidden life vibrating in every atom and holding everything together. Incredibly, these primitive people appear to have understood the concept of one life more than modern man, notwithstanding his advantage of knowledge uncovered by scientific developments. This is the intangible reality of these people. Now, what they have to say about this thing, they go into, say, on death what happens, and how they prepare for it, and how is the connection between people who are living and those who are died. In death as in life, Aboriginal spirituality gives preeminence to the land and sees the deceased as linked indissolubly, that means always, by a web of subtle connections to that greater whole. When a person dies, some form of the person's spirit and also their bones go back to the country they were born in. Their belief. Okay? They believe that they share their being with their country and all that is within it. So, when a person dies, their country suffers, and trees die and become scarred because it is believed that they came into being because of the deceased person. They establish the link. Many Aboriginal people believe in a place called Land of the Dead. This place was also commonly known as the Sky World, which is really just the sky. As long as certain rituals are carried out during his life, at the time of death, the deceased is allowed to enter the land of the dead in the Sky World. The spirit of the dead is also a part of different lands and sites. And then those areas become sacred sites. This explains why the Aboriginal people are very protective of the sites they call sacred. The rituals that are performed enable the spirit of the dead to be connected once more to all nature, to all their ancestors, and to their own personal meaning and place within the scheme of things. It is a return to the real existence for the Aboriginal. Life on earth, limited by time, is simply a passing phase. It is a gap in eternity. It has a beginning, it has an end. The individual who enters the sky world feels no separation between himself and his ancestors. The strengths and resources of the timeless enter into what is needed in the life of the present. This is a connection between those who are passed off and those who are living now, and how they are connected. The future is less uncertain because the individual feels his life as a continuum, linking the past, present, and future in an unbroken connection. In this manner, the limitations of time and space are overcome. For the Aboriginal people, dead relatives are very much a part of continuing life. Death is seen as a part of the cycle of life in which one emerges from a continuum through birth and eventually returns to the timeless, only to emerge again. Sorry, take a little longer than expected. Now, I'll just quickly go through the rest of you. A mythic map of mythic means areas dealing with mythology. Map of Australia would show thousands of characters, varying in their importance, but all in some way connected with the land. Some emerged at specific sites and stayed spiritually in that vicinity. Others came from somewhere else and went somewhere else. Here, many were shape-changing. That means who was also a human being may have come down as a tree now. A tree can come as a human being, transformed into human beings or natural species, or into natural features such as rocks, but all left something of spiritual essence at the places noted in their stories. Okay. Now, there's a small article written by a person called Stephen Lehman, and he has this to say: Aboriginal Australians are living proof of how we can take a different approach to nature. They represent over 50,000 years of uninterrupted living culture based on the touching the earth lightly concept, meaning you only take from nature what you really need at that particular moment. Don't waste. Now here's this again, recognition of the one life. Indigenous Australians have had a long-standing relationship with the land and everything that exists on the land. This bonding stretches far back beyond recorded history and is based on respect, knowledge, and harmony. Recognition of the one hidden life in all. Their cultures have always understood that the land provides all their necessary resources, and so these resources must be stewarded carefully in order to ensure that these supplies will not diminish. Saving the environment. And we expanded on that here. According to the traditional lore, land, air, water, trees, plants, rocks, animals, and weather are all interconnected and essential to their well-being. The spiritual bond exists. This spiritual bond means that they view the environment as an extension of themselves, and believe they have a responsibility to care for it. They understand the important balance between humans and nature and the need to live in harmony with their surroundings, looking after the land, conserving resources, and understanding the seasonal cycle of plants and animals. The real holistic picture. I think that's about it. Two small things here, slightly off this thing. I've got some poets. Poets are, their intuition level is very high. So, nature poets, by virtue of their highly developed intuition, are keenly aware of worlds beyond the mortal. William Wordsworth, recognizing the organized manner in which all activities take place in the universe, says this: one impulse from a vernal wood, vernal means fresh, may teach you more of man, of moral evil and good, than all the sages can. When you take the tree as your teacher. We have a lot in our Vedas also regarding so many trees are all sacred to us. Time constraints, already I have overrun it, sorry for that. And the limited ability of human mind to accommodate just so much cerebral matter in anyone sitting have mandated my closing my talk at this juncture. I am sure if we were to delve into the cultures of the ancient Egypt, Persia before it became Iran, the Mayas, Aztecs, Incas, Ocean Islanders, and a host of other people all over the world, we would find more proof validating our opening statement, the hidden life, vibrant in every atom. That, however, must wait till the next opportunity presents itself. Thank you all, brothers and sisters, for a patient hearing. And Jaishree.
Good morning, sir, and to all the friends here. It was an excellent, very thought-provoking speech. Thank you very much for that. I just had one question. I'll try, because it's a complex topic, I'll try to put it possibly coherently, but otherwise I would ask for your indulgence if I'm not communicating the question properly. Sir, you gave a wonderful example of the light being here, and so we are able to perceive the book. What was going through in my mind was that in order to see or understand, there are three things that are required. One is the perceiver, the second is the perceived, which is the book. Third is the act of perception or the enabler. In this case, to take an example, there is a person in an insentient body, but there is consciousness which is sitting there, which is what is perceiving through the medium of the body. And if we now go to the people instead of the book, so what is this consciousness in my body is through the body is trying to perceive outside. When it perceives outside with the body which is sentient and which is limited by five senses, it can only perceive within what is permitted or allowed for it to perceive using these five senses. It may not be able to perceive what is inside the other body, which is the same. It may be the same consciousness as Advaita says, or it can be two different consciousness as probably Dvaita says. But what is the manner in which the consciousness in me can actually perceive the consciousness and feel connected with the other consciousness which is present? Today I can only intuit that, okay, there must be a consciousness like mine. But just like I feel my body in its entirety, I don't feel connected with any other consciousness which is present. It may be the same, it may be different, but I'm only intuitively assuming that there is something there, but I don't have personal knowledge of it. How does one get that knowledge, sir?
See, actually what you're saying is that the consciousness which is in one person, it recognizes the consciousness in everyone else. Now, consciousness is something which it doesn't have any property as such, but it exists. Now, if we go to the question of Advaita, or let us start with Dvaita. Dvaita is a little easier to understand. That we have one what is called the original consciousness, that is Brahman or Atma, and that is only one. And that Brahman is not bound by time or space or anything. Okay, it is only one. What we call in science infinity. Okay. Now, this original consciousness or the infinity, it reflects a small part of it through a reflecting medium. That reflecting medium is your body, his body, his body, everything. Okay. Depending on the level to which the senses have been fine-tuned, your five senses will respond. That is a reflected consciousness activating your five senses will react with the reflected consciousness of the other person, his five senses, and these two will have the interaction. Okay, so that is how you interact with people. Now, but you cannot know what the other person is thinking, because for that, consciousness can activate at various levels. For the normal people, it activates only on the level of the five senses. So as your senses become more and more fine-tuned, and intuition as you mentioned, then if that person is also so highly intuitive, then you may be able to communicate with him at that level. Now science sometime back has, not science, we call it metaphysics, they have said, we are familiar with five senses. A lot of people have said we have a sixth sense. Now what they are saying is, there are 21 senses. Depending on how more the intuition much subtle than the other five. So you can imagine at 21st level what it's going to be. And I can say even in our Puranas and everything, the rishis we had, who could see past, present, future, everything all over the world, all over the universe, they had probably reached that level. So for them, like nothing was impossible for them. What we call impossible. Like this reminds me, one of our famous in the Kalakalakshamam, now they do, religious discourses. He said a very beautiful line, he said, which I always remember, that infinity, that is God and man, there are two things which you must know. What is magic to man is logic to infinity.
On behalf of all of you, I have great pleasure in thanking Mr. Sethuraman, and it's a small token of appreciation. And what else? Yes.
I just wanted to say I'm really thankful, and I won't say, as I said, I don't say having given me the opportunity. I'll say I'm thankful to the society for having brought all of us together so that we can sort of exchange views on these things. Because more people get to know about this, it's better for all of us and the whole world. After all, that's our aim.
Thank you so much.
I must thank Jaishree for all that help she gave me in the library. Where are you? For preparing all this, The library is beautiful. The selections we have here are just out of this world.
I must thank you because you took so much trouble in coming here almost for a week or so. He was there, say 11 to 3 or 4 o'clock, taking meticulously notes and giving such a wonderful presentation.
It was a great learning experience for me too.
Thank you all very much for being here, and thank you very much. And we'll adjourn there and have a cup of tea and go up and have a look at the books that are displayed there on this side. Thank you all.